There is a place, not here or there, but somewhere in between. There is a space in the thin air that really can't be seen. If you listen and observe, you may be surprised. Some may call it Camelot or even paradise. Some may say you cross a bridge, others through a door. But all I know about this place is that I call it Evermore. Evermore.
Good evening, sweet spirits. Welcome to the show. My name is Suzanne Sorrell, and I'm the host of the Evermore Paranormal Network. On this episode, I will be talking with a senior paranormal investigator with Evermore Paranormal, Szilvia Vukovics. So please welcome her to the show.
Hi.
Hi, Szilvia.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So I always start my interviews off, it seems, with asking people how we met. Do you remember?
Oh, yes. It was a long time ago. I believe I was in my teens. I think we lived in the same neighborhood. And
Right.
I used to play with your,
I know.
you and Jim's son. And we just began a friendship from there on, and we hit it off. And we've been since, I think, in the 80s. Been friends since then.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. We lost touch for a little bit there, but we found each other again, and now we're at it.
So, Szilvia, I know you take your heritage it's really important to you. So, where were you born?
I was born in Budapest, Hungary in 1975.
Oh, okay.
So,
And so, how long you lived there? How long did you live there before you came to the U.S.?
I lived there till I was about 8 or 9, and after that we moved to Austria, and then we came to the United States to make a better life for ourselves, my mother and I.
Mm-hmm. And you're still with?
Yeah, she's...
Right. And that just reminded me, you probably speak a bunch of languages, or at least partially. What all languages do you speak?
I still speak Hungarian, because that was my native language, and English, obviously. Not perfect sometimes, and I also do speak Spanish.
Wow. Well, that's a great, asset in this area, because there's a lot of different cultures here. So when you came to the United States, did you move here to Fairfax County? Or were you living in another area? No,
actually, we lived in Fairfax for about most of my life, and then I moved to Manassas a little bit later on, about 10 years ago, and now I'm out in Fauquier County.
Oh,
and I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to stay. I really like it out there.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I may be looking for a place out there too.
So
you did go to Fairfax High School, right?
So, graduated from Fairfax High School.
And did you go on to college? And I know you're the Jill of all trades, shall we say, because you've done a lot of different vocational training, college, etc. Well, what kind of things have you studied?
I did study psychology in college, so was able to get a degree in that. I would like to further my degree, going forward, but having a child and having to work, it's tough. But yeah, I would like to pursue something in psychology, possibly.
Well, I was going to say. You have a daughter, and what is she studying?
She's studying psychology. She's going to graduate in May of this year.
Oh, that's awesome. And you said, is she still going to pursue her master's?
Yeah, she's going to stay
as
there.
well? Just another year?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years in Texas. So.
Okay. So, I know you're not married, but what's your status right now?
I've been married before. Didn't turn out like a dream. So now
and a lot of them don't.
Right. But I'm actually currently in a very good relationship. It'll be our 2-year anniversary next week with RC.
Oh, wow.
So, and I've actually known him. They lived in the same neighborhood that you and I lived in.
I know. We
back
go way
when we
back.
first met. So it's just kind of twist of fate brought us back together.
How about, I know you had some dogs, and they passed recently,
Yeah.
You just got a new one though, right?
Yes, I did.
So tell me about that.
I adopted a little Chihuahua, named him Jake, and I hate to say it, but he's perfect in every way.
Oh, of course, our little babies are.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing right now? What's your career?
I'm currently working for Fauquier High School, so Fauquier County Public Schools, and I love it. I get to work with the kids, get to work a little bit with staff, adults, so it's a little bit of a mixture of both. So.
And as for hobbies, other than ghost hunting, you probably have some hobbies. You seem to be always busy. Ghost hunting is just one thing. We'll get into that next segment, but what kind of hobbies?
Hobbies, I love traveling. You know, we love going to places outdoors, hiking, especially love the beach, things like that, just any activities. And, you know, I love movies as well, so I could stay home or I could go out. Depends on the weather too, actually.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
My journey skating for the gold taught me a lot, but my journey with breast cancer has been one of my greatest teachers.
Every woman's breast cancer is unique. Be Wiser educates and empowers women to take control of their breast cancer treatment plan and help navigate their own path beyond 5 years.
Talk to your doctor about information and tests to personalize a treatment plan that fits your needs. I did. Be informed, be wiser, support survivors like us.
Welcome back. I'm talking with Szilvia Vukovics, and she's a team member on Evermore Paranormal. So, Szilvia, how long have you been on Evermore Paranormal?
From the beginning, pretty much. I believe it was around 2011.
So, what is your title on the team, and what kind of things do you do? What kind of duties do you have?
I'm a senior paranormal investigator. And pretty much it just depends on the location and different things. You know, everybody does different jobs, whatever's needed.
Sometimes we put you in the scary spot.
Yeah, sometimes they put me as a guinea pig. And,
and you're always willing. You're always willing.
Right.
You're a good team member. You go for it. So how did you get involved with Evermore?
Well, you being one of my good friends back then, and you were telling me about it, and you started the group up, and I think you had an event at the community center, I believe, and invited me to that, and I had a fantastic time, and it was very interesting, as we did get some activity, so that kind of drove me in, and it's been going ever since then.
That's right. So I always ask this question of everyone, because you can't assume it, but because even though some people are in the paranormal, they're skeptics. Are you a believer or are you a skeptic?
I was in between, but I'm definitely a skeptic now after experiencing some things on some of our events that you and I have gone on. So.
Okay. So you're a believer, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. But are you a skeptic?
No, not anymore.
Okay. That's what I thought. So you're a believer, and because of some things that have happened during the events. And so what is your favorite thing about ghost hunting?
My favorite thing, I think I just love the interaction between, you know, the other world and us. And I like that it proves that there's something else, you know, just outside of this life. It's pretty interesting.
Do you remember your first paranormal experience? Like, how old were you, and where was it? What happened?
Definitely. I remember, I think I was in my teens, and I remember I was sleeping and there was nobody in the home, and I clearly heard somebody knocking in my door. The door was open, and like I said, nobody was home. And it really scared me, but at the same time, I believe it was maybe my grandmother who's passed on, because I was going to be late if I didn't wake up to go to work. So I believe it was more like a guardian angel kind of thing instead of just a random spirit.
Do you know if she's, come around at other times in your life?
I'm not sure, to be honest. No, probably not as much now.
So what would you say is your scariest paranormal experience, or your most profound experience that really made you seriously think about the field?
Seriously, it was probably when we were at Wendy's farm.
Dream Meadows?
Dream Meadows farm.
Right.
And we were downstairs, and everybody in the property was downstairs, and we clearly heard the front door slam, and we heard footsteps coming down, and that was the most frightening thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Oh, wow.
So Yeah, and everybody had the same reaction. It wasn't just that I heard it; everybody heard it, and yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to talk about some more haunted locations that Szilvia's visited.
Losing weight's a lot harder than gaining it, but with every step, I lower my risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease, and that makes every step very much worth the effort.
Learn how you can help stop diabetes. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES.
Hi, welcome back. I'm speaking with Szilvia Vukovics, and she's a senior paranormal investigator with Evermore Paranormal. Now we're going to talk about some of the haunted locations that we both have actually investigated together. So, Szilvia, let's talk about a private residence at Swan Court. So, we've been there a bunch of times. Can you tell me the kind of things or the kind of feeling you get at that place?
Well, actually, you know, being your mother's home, I was there before she passed away, and you know, I felt comfortable in that house. So, you know, I had no reservations going in, not have any fear. But there was a lot of energy in that house for sure. You know, you walk in and it seems a little cold now, and I know that there's one particular bedroom upstairs with dolls, I believe it was, and you just, it feels colder in there, and you just get a feeling that somebody's watching you. And I'm not sure who it is, because it's not a friendly feeling. It's more of like a evil, I don't know, like somebody's waiting to do something to you, that you don't want to be in that room.
Right,
So.
and you're not the only one. I mean,
Right.
Before my mom passed, we didn't feel like there was anything there. But since she's passed, I know it's not her there.
Right, it doesn't feel
It
like
doesn't feel like her.
Mm-mm.
It feels like a male negative energy to me. And everybody else that's come in, people that didn't know, are all saying that. And so, yeah, I know that you felt like when we've been upstairs in the small bedroom, the feeling like something's watching you,
Right.
You've heard things behind you, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's definitely kind of a surprise, really, that something has started to haunt this place.
Yeah, and it's weird because her bedroom, you know, I feel comfortable in.
Right.
And, you know, I've had several dreams with her and continue to have dreams, and I have a very warm feeling. And a lot of times I don't necessarily see her, but I know that it's with her I'm dreaming. And it's just everyday things, but, you know, I feel good when I'm in her bedroom. Like, you can feel, you know, warmth and everything, but it's totally different when you go 10 feet to another room.
When you have dreams of my mom, are you at her house or?
A couple times, but most of the time in the past, you know.
In the
there's,
past, things
like
as
at the
you were
cleaners
growing up
or-
and so
right,
on.
Right, yeah, just remembering things. But they're not memories because it's things we never did before, but it just, yeah, just we're hanging out, you know.
Wow, I know you've mentioned that to
Right,
me
right.
before. We'll have to I really want to pick your brain and hear about all your dreams, all the little details.
Yeah.
So anyway, another place that we've gone numerous times is Dream Meadows.
Oh, yes.
And we've had the owner here on the show. We also went out recently to the property. And I know you've been there with us on several occasions. Tell me about your incidents.
Wow. Where do we begin with that place?
Probably the first time we went. What happened when we were sitting in the living room?
Definitely a lot of evil things going on in that house. I remember the first time we were sitting in a circle, and I believe we had all the meters out, the K2s and everything. And I remember distinctly feeling like electricity, kind of like a buzzing, or when you're sitting too close to a speaker, like a vibration. And I felt like it went through me, and there was another team member next to me, and I remember she was saying that she felt like she got choked. And once we turned the lights on and everything, my scapulaire that I was wearing had been ripped at one end, and it was perfectly fine before, and the other team member had choke marks on her neck. So that was very scary. And we were getting a lot of words on the obelisk, you know, evil, get out, demon. So there was a lot of things.
So I think that religious necklace that you had on protected you.
Yeah, it was a
It
woven
went through
cross,
you.
right.
It's like, okay, she's protected. Next.
Yeah, it didn't
So
like
I
me
really do
having
think
that.
it protected you. Now I know you mentioned the second incident earlier,
Right.
where we
heard
went
footsteps.
downstairs and we heard somebody come in. That was terrifying.
Yes, that was very
I
terrifying.
mean, I actually, it even frightened my husband. who is a skeptic.
Right.
And we really felt like, I really thought about quitting the paranormal after that night.
Yeah.
I really thought we were messing with fire.
I didn't think we were going to get out of there, to be honest with you. I remember everybody heard at the same time. We all kind of huddled, and there was no way out downstairs because there's no walkout entrance. And I really thought something was going to happen there. You know, luckily it didn't.
Thank goodness.
Right.
Thank goodness. That was really scary. Now, the property, as we, you know, any other things that stand out?
I remember when we were upstairs having, I guess, a group, you know, we were sitting in a circle, and I remember we were doing the heat camera, I think, and the regular camera, and Jim had caught something. It looked like it was coming out of the fireplace that was behind me, crawling on top of me, and I did feel nothing touched me, but it just felt like there was very cold. The temperature dropped. I think it was like 15 degrees.
Right, that was crazy.
That, yeah, so there's definitely things there, and I know Wendy, the owner, has experienced several things.
I know. We were there recently, and I got a picture of a little boy in the barn.
Oh,
really
the barn,
obvious
yes.
little boy, maybe six years old, maybe.
Right.
A very obvious picture.
Right.
How about the barn? Do you remember anything there, or how you feel?
I do. I remember the barn. There's noises, and you know, you almost hear like a faint woman talking or humming sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And actually, I'm sorry, going back to the house, I remember you can hear a woman humming in the hallways, and we all kind of heard it. So
definitely, we all heard it with our own ears, except for Jim, I think. All the women heard it.
Right.
So, how about anywhere else that you feel any any kind of paranormal activity there at Dream Meadows?
I think when we did the pool house, when we did the pool house, just the pool itself, it's just, it seemed like there was a lot of negative energy coming out. I'm not a psychic, but you just feel something creepy in that water. And
does it, like when you go there during the day, or when you go there just regularly, does it give you I mean, just the whole property, does it give you the creeps or what?
Not so much, but some places. It seems like the closer you get to the barn and the fields, I don't know if maybe there's people that were killed there or buried. It just seems like the back, towards the back of the property and the main house is is the worst. And the downstairs, the basement with the fireplace downstairs.
The portal. Right. I was going to ask you, do you remember the one in the portal?
Yeah. I remember you guys caught a lot of pictures and things and orbs, and even the animals sense it. Her animals don't go nowhere near it. So,
okay, well, let's take a quick break, and we will be right back. Welcome back. I'm talking to Szilvia Vukovics, and we're going to talk about a couple more haunted locations that we both have investigated at. First of all, Szilvia, let's talk about Farnsworth House Inn. So, do you remember the sleepover that we did there?
Yes, very well. Yep, I remember.
So, you know, I rented the location, and we all went and we shared a room, and well, 2 per room. So you had another team member. Do you remember the kind of stuff that happened that night?
Yeah, I remember we heard a lot of things during the night. It was pretty calm during the day, and you know, while we're getting ready for bed, but once those lights went out, it was constant. It almost sounded like somebody was walking in the halls, and then it almost sounded like they weren't in the hall, that they were like above us or walking on the side of the wall. It was very creepy.
Wow.
I remember, and you know, she heard them too, and I just remember the room was being, you know, it started getting colder and colder, and I remember we got up and checked, you know, the thermometer, and it was fine, but it just it felt very cold in there. I remember that specifically.
How about, I think, women laughing all night? I know we all reported that.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. We did hear people, and it, you know, we're like, what's going on out there? And, you know, there was nobody out there. You know, we looked and nobody was out there. It was, so I'm sure it was the same, whatever it was. It sounded like they were walking through the halls, giggling.
Did you have your doorknob jingle or anything like that? We had our doorknob jiggle.
I don't remember that, but I remember clearly hearing the walking in the halls.
You want to go back there? Maybe? No?
Maybe. Maybe, as long as you give me a roommate.
Oh, yes. Oh, you wouldn't want to do it by yourself, huh?
No,
me neither.
Not by myself, because that's when things start happening.
Oh my gosh, I was with Kat, and I had the lights on, and we were still scared.
Yeah, that's when sheets get pulled, and toes get touched. No, thank you.
Oh, goodness. Well, you know that the other girl that was in one of the other rooms had her sheet, her blanket kept lifting up.
Yes, I remember that.
And I got that on film, actually.
Oh.
And it just kept,
Right.
it was weird. And the one girl was sleeping, the other one was awake, just watching this. And she came running down the hall. Yeah, well, we had some technical difficulties on that shoot, so I haven't really used the footage, but that did happen. We do have it. But there were some other issues, so we really didn't use the footage on that. So, yeah, I'd like to go back there and, pair up again, of course.
There's definitely energy there as well, so.
Definitely. So, when we first started investigating together, you came to my first event at the Manassas Park Community Center. And after that, then you became part of the team and so on. So we did a whole bunch of events there over about 3 years. So tell me what kind of things you remember, because we haven't been back in a few years since the director passed away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that place definitely, I think, is the most haunted that I've experienced, you know, in my past. But I remember, you know, one of the main things too, that the batteries tend to drain a lot quicker there. And I remember, I think one time, you know, you guys had a fully charged camera and it died within a couple minutes. And I know one of the main things too is the far end where the restrooms are and that sitting areas towards the back.
Yeah, they call that the pre-function area.
Right.
Which we'd sit there, whoa.
Yeah, I remember we've all seen, I think, the shadow with the man with the tall hat there.
The top hat man?
Right, the top hat. It looked kind of like Abe Lincoln a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, even in the admin section, I saw the Grim Reaper.
Oh, I
The Grim Reaper's been seen down that housekeeping hallway, too. What other kind of things? In the pool, do you remember in the pool area? Did you ever experience anything?
I can't remember if it was me or Kat, but I know somebody had saw footprints and the pool was shut. There was nobody in the building but us, and you clearly saw wet footprints coming out of the pool, and then they led nowhere. They just stopped. It was about 4 or 5. So that was kind of when I decided let's move to another room there.
Yeah, I mean, there's reports that these footprints appear, and we actually caught that on film as they appeared, and they were little kids, which really is sad.
Yeah.
I'd asked the people there if anybody had ever drowned, any record of anybody drowning. They said no, because that's what I thought. It was somebody that had drowned, but there are so many spirits there. How about it? Where else?
I remember in the children's room, I think the daycare room. I'm not sure what it's called. I know that I had sat in one of the restrooms where apparently there's a little boy. I believe his name was Timmy, that goes around and you almost felt like there was somebody sitting next to you when you know you were sitting. It feels like somebody just sits next to you and doesn't touch you, but they're next to you, just pushed against you. And I know that there's also the dog in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that, you know, people had experiences feeling like a dog rub against them or walk past them. I personally haven't seen it, but I know that the team member has.
Oh, yeah, I remember that story.
Right. And going back to where the tall man with the top hat and those restrooms, I remember almost every time, without a fail, the toilets flush when you ask the spirits, you know, are you here? And, you know, one time I remember specifically nothing happened, and we're walking out, and we all said, well, I guess nobody's here. Toilets flushed. And they're not automatic flushing toilets. There's no way it was a malfunction. Somebody meant to flush those toilets.
So that was the bathrooms down at the end, the dark end. Yeah, there's just, I mean, it's endless. And we did so many research projects, and we also did events, so there's tons of evidence, tons of stories. I'm actually writing a book about it, and I will be dedicating it to Catherine Moretta, who was the director of Parks and Recreation. She passed away a couple years ago. And before she passed, I had told her that I was going to write a book and dedicate it to her. So I have to do it because I made this commitment. And there's just so much to talk about.
I mean, in the kitchen, too. We didn't touch on the kitchen, but I know the kitchen is a very, very active place.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. You know, we've seen with the heat cameras things crawling on the walls, and, you know, you hear banging when nobody's in there. And
yeah, the things that we've experienced there, I don't know if you ever watched the show Dead Files. Have you ever watched that?
Seen it,
And the things that Amy sees. We've experienced almost all those things that Amy sees at that location, which makes me wonder, what's going on. It's
Yeah,
not just ghosts, it's
we definitely get a lot of
creatures.
responses to EVP there from
Yes.
children especially. I
Yes.
remember, so.
Do you remember the first EVP we got there, and
With the boy?
the said the dog's name?
Oh, Rufus. Yeah, that I'll never forget that. Yeah, that was the first
Wow.
animal
Yeah.
spirit that I've encountered. That was really interesting.
And
so.
we're like, I wonder, that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's just so much. I can't wait to sit down and actually put this all down, because
Yeah.
we kind of stopped doing investigations there
Right.
after Catherine passed. And so now I have all this stuff to go through and
Right.
sift through. But
Yeah,
you're going to
but
have to help me remember all these
We
things.
definitely have I think a lot of evidence from there almost every time.
Well, thank you for coming today, Sylvia.
Sure, it was great talking to you again.
I'm so glad that we got back together after all these years too,
Yeah.
you know, and you're on the team,
Yep.
and maybe we can use your language skills sometime, you know?
Yeah,
Because
hopefully.
sometimes the spirits speak in other languages.
that's true, yeah.
And in
Didn't
our
think about
area,
that.
Spanish would be something, and I
That's
know a little
true.
bit, but
Yeah,
you know, not enough to interpret. So thank you, Sylvia.
no problem, thank you.
So thank you for watching the Evermore Paranormal Network. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, peace out.
So in the end, what have I said is only that I'm sure. For all I know about this place is that I call it Evermore.